take me back to the 50s when you landed in New Zealand, in Wellington. What do you remember from that time?
I'm taking a deep breath because I remember so much. I have written an autobiography called Bums on Seats, which is no longer for sale, so I'm not trying to flog off copies. I wished it was. Well, the contrast to come from London, where my parents took me almost every week to the theatre and all the museums and art galleries, to what seemed a very tiny place with very little culture. It was a bit unfair. And the fact that whereas in London, I started work about 9:30, in Wellington I had to start at 8 in the morning. So my life changed quite quickly.
What do you think that did for your creativity? To land in such a small,
Oh, well,
town?
that's a good question. It does give you a new pair of eyes, and you look not only at where you're living, but you look back at where you used to live and how things are so different. And I'd always wanted to be a writer, and short stories was about the limit of my ambition. And so I would, keep a written diary, and I would write short stories every now and then. And but it wasn't until some years later, 4 or 5 years, when I went to Teachers College, that I could really start writing a lot and more time. And I've eventually got a story published in The Listener, which has been my ambition at that stage. But then by then I was starting to turn to drama and writing for television, and which eventually didn't occur to me to write for the stage, but eventually it did, and Glide Time was a result. Because of all this and what I was doing and writing, I had some scripts accepted by television. I was given a travelling grant by the Arts Council, and that included, and Robert Lord, the great late Robert, said you must come to the Memorial Playwrights Workshop in Connecticut, which was very famous, where they had plays that they often went to Broadway. So it was a big deal. And every night they had a rehearsed play reading, and all the audience said, "Oh, this is wonderful, wonderful." And I thought, hang on, it's not that wonderful, you know. And I thought, no, it's not. And then I thought, I could do a play myself. And then I thought, I could do better. And a few months later, Glide Time finished.
You were doing the Eugene O'Neill workshop in Connecticut in the US.
Yes.
Being there, doing that workshop, what do you think that gave you, having that time and space?
It seemed, that the calibre of the actors there, I mean, Meryl Streep was one of the actors.
Really?
Can you imagine? Yes. Seriously. I have said good morning, Meryl. So she was just on the cusp of getting really well known. But I drop her name, partly to drop the name, but to give you the calibre of the people who worked there, and others who went on to big things in TV and stage and so on. So it was a big deal to be allowed to go, even if I could just sit there and not comment. I wasn't allowed to say anything.
Just to observe.
But the big thing it made me realize, I thought, I think I could do this. And then I thought, I could write something better than this. And I went up to the library and started writing a play.
You've been described as an overnight sensation, but how long is that overnight period actually?
Glide Time was an overnight sensation. It really took off.
Did you know that it would take off?
I did, actually.
You did?
I did.
What do you think made you think, I think I've got something here?
Well, I felt it was different, and I thought this could really work. I just sensed, having seen most New Zealand plays then were history plays. They looked back at the past. Hardly any plays looked at the present. And deep down, and I've never said anything at the time, I thought, this is going to work, you know. This is just to myself. And it took off like a rocket all over the place. Yeah. And then to follow up with Middle Age Spread, which was as big a hit, an even bigger hit, to have those two, I was established for life, really. Both, a Roger Hall play meant something, and it set me up financially very well, especially because it then went to, Middle Age Spread went to Australia, and then it went to London. 15 months in the West End. It's a nice little cash sum at the end.
Was it Glide Time that had a wait list of 1,000 people?
Yes. That was before they would take it to the Opera House. the Circa, Caroline Henwood, bless her, would sit at the box office. The phone would go and she would take an order and put it down. It would ring straight, and I'll have a bit of this. I went along. It was honestly so exciting.
And behind you, you've got a photocopy of all the people who booked
Yes.
for opening night.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yes. And some who'd been booked and cancelled. And you thought, oh, they'll be sorry.
But you've got full house in capitals at the bottom with a
well, that
with
was
an
quite something
exclamation
then
mark.
to get a full house.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back, not so much, but then it very early days for Circa Theatre, and the previous plays got the occasional full house, but this just took off straight away.
It really changed local theatre in that it gave the country a sense of, actually, we can see ourselves on stage, we can see ourselves in theatre, and people will come and watch.
Yes.
People actually like it and want it. Did you clock that at the time? Did you understand what your work was doing?
I did.
Yeah.
It sounds conceited, but I did. I knew this was changing things. That particularly what we then called the amateur theatres, but community theatres, they always did British plays. They never did New Zealand plays. And then slowly they got confident, they did my plays and then other plays, and they realised that, yes, there's a lot of good New Zealand plays out there, and they began doing them.
Was there any temptation to then go to London, stay there, work, be in
very
that
much
community?
so.
Yeah.
And my London agent wanted me to go there. And I thought about it, and my parents were still there then. And I thought, no, we're a New Zealand family, and I'm a New Zealand writer. People would say, oh, of course you're English. And I said, yeah, I am born English, but I am a New Zealand writer. And I decided I wanted to stay there and bring my family up as New Zealanders.
50 years on from Glide Time, do you still feel a strong sense of ownership, or does it feel like at this point it's one of a long list of plays that you've written?
Oh no, I'm very possessive about it, and I've no idea. What will be interesting to see is a different generation, how much the script will mean to them. Is the public service and banks, have they all changed so much that it'll seem strange? I'm dying to find out whether they'll find it funny or recognisable. We'll see.
Glide Time became a TV show eventually,
Yes.
Gliding On, which ran for...
Which was a radio show first.
Radio show first.
Yes, which
so
bless
it's had
radio.
a multi-life, really.
Yes.
But the TV show had 5 seasons.
Yes.
Why did it end?
I decided to end it rather cruelly for the actor's point of view. I didn't want to be on a bus saying, oh, they should have ended it a year ago or something. I wanted it to end with people wanting it to go on, if you see what I mean.
Leave on a high.
I want them to leave saying, oh, they missed it.
Yeah. Was that a hard decision at the time?
No, I don't think so. I just said, no, that's enough. As I say, I was a bit thoughtless about the actors because their income disappeared, but I thought, no, I don't want it to sort of dribble on and on and on. There's so many other comedy series and things, they go on too long. Currently, I've been trying to write a play, and I sit down at 9 o'clock, and after about 4 lines, I've finished. The muse has completely disappeared. So it doesn't matter what I label it at the moment. Yeah. It's a shame, but I'm not complaining, but it's I'm happy if I'm working on a project, but no project comes along.
You are known as something of a sure thing for theatre companies. You mentioned earlier, a Roger Hall play after Glide Time and Middle Age spread, and that your plays will fill houses. Do you like that reputation, or is there a cost to it?
It's a bit of a stress, but I rather like it, really, yes. Especially then, as I say, when the amateur theatres began to do a Roger Hall play, which meant they discovered New Zealand could write plays and the audiences would enjoy them. Yeah. That was one of my great achievements, really, is converting audiences to realise that what is all around them is just as interesting as anything that comes from America and Australia.
50 years, you've accumulated a remarkable list of honours, acknowledgements, experiences. You're a Fulbright scholar. You went to Eugene O'Neill Playwright workshop in Connecticut. Have those accolades and awards, what do they mean to you?
Well, they're very enjoyable, but it doesn't doesn't change it. Being a sir, it doesn't really change your life either. You think, oh, well, you know, being a sir doesn't mean a damn thing really to most people, nor should it. But it's nice to get that recognition, but it hasn't changed, you know. The thing is, next day at 9 o'clock, you sit at the typewriter and keep going. So it doesn't change much.